Yo, this is Rick Mahorn, the bad boy, giving a shout out to my man Drew, Detroit Drew. Make sure you tune in on his YouTube channel, Detroit Drew. Bad boy.
Ready?
Yo peeps, what's going on? And yes, again, we're dissecting this press conference from Troy Weaver because quite frankly, outside of this press conference, this hasn't been a whole lot of news for the Pistons going forward. So I got at least one more segment of this that will be dropping tomorrow unless something shocking happens. But let's talk about this because quite frankly, I know probably a lot of people are going to be rubbed the wrong way by it because they want to move on from Blake Griffin. But quite frankly, I am perfectly content with this. Troy Weaver said in the press conference that as long as Blake Griffin is in a Detroit Pistons uniform, he is anxious or happy to work with them. And that he is, yes, Blake Griffin is part of their plans moving forward. So what does this all mean? Well, I don't necessarily think it means anything good or bad, to be honest with you. I think for right now that they're not actively shopping Blake Griffin. I think that if something comes along in the future that they'll 100% take it into consideration. Not even really debating it as if they should or they shouldn't, but just looking forward to what's best of the team. That really makes sense. It's kind of a weird way to word it from my point of view, but I think going forward that this organization needs to be bigger than a player. It needs to be bigger than a coach. They need to do the right basketball moves going forward because quite frankly, we've just done so many bad decisions. It's hurt us over the years. So I think if you could get good value out of Blake Griffin, that the team's going to take it and make a trade. And if you don't, I think we'll hold on to him because Blake Griffin's a great guy on and off the court. He's a great leader. He's a great guy to have in that locker room. He does a lot for the community. He does a lot just around the world off the court that has nothing to do with basketball. You know, he's a funny dude for comedy. He's got a really strong political voice, and I know a lot of people don't like politics with sports, but you have to realize people are built different and people want to get their minds across, so you have to respect it. And quite frankly, to have a player like that represent the D, it is huge, man. It is huge. And you can bring in the big salary cap, the injuries, all that stuff. When Blake Griffin's on the court, the Pistons are a playoff team. When Blake Griffin's on the court, he's a top 13 player, top 3 at his position. When Blake Griffin is healthy, which is not always the case, he is a whole nother cat. I mean, there's not too many fours in the game who can shoot the three, who can play make, go coast to coast, finish above the rim, got a post game. I mean, offensively, he's a problem. And defensively, he's good when he puts the effort into it. But like I said, man, his biggest factor to me is his leadership. He's here to help the young guys. He wants the team to get better. He wants the team to do well. And he's really embraced the city of Detroit, which is huge because given the opportunity, not too many players of his caliber who have had that big name, who have gone to the playoffs, who should have been NBA title contenders, who just never went, but really a face of the league at one point in time, considered the top 5, top 10 talent in the league. You know, to have that caliber player here who's maybe is not as good as he used to be or whatever you want to say, to have him here in this team to say all this kind of stuff, it's huge because it helps you build the culture Troy is trying to build. If you get young talent in here and look up to Blake Griffin, look up to Derrick Rose, which we'll talk about D-Rose here in just a minute, when they look up to these guys and they see they're putting in the work, you know, Blake Griffin's been working out at home and getting ready for next year. Young guys look up to that kind of stuff because they watch those guys. I haven't heard Troy's comment on Derrick Rose, but I'm going to go ahead and put my twist on it and say it's the same for Blake Griffin because these guys are huge for the young fellas, man. Believe it or not. You might say that, yeah, they take minutes away from the young fellas or whatever, but it goes bigger than that. It's all off the court stuff. It's all leadership. It's all about showing the young guys you have to put the work in, you have to have the heart, you have to have the willpower, and go out there in games and show them. And Derrick Rose had a great year. Buzzer beaters, ankle breakers, dunks. I mean, Derrick Rose looked like Derrick Rose. It was awesome to see. And young guys are going to look up to that. So for our GM to acknowledge that our star player, our best player, is more than welcome to be here. He's looking forward to working with them. It's encouraging. And again, it doesn't mean we're not going to trade him at the same time. It just means as of right now, he's a Detroit Piston and he's here to stay. So, like I said, I think that the Pistons are going to weigh their options. I don't know as of right now if they're actively shopping Blake. I think that more come trade deadline, you'll hear more trade rumors and stuff like that. It could happen draft day. I don't know. But for right now, the Pistons aren't actively shopping Blake Griffin. So this is something to keep our eyes on moving forward. It's really encouraging to hear our GM say stuff like this, and I'm excited that we got Troy, man. He knows basketball. He knows how to play. It's going to be fun to watch this team moving forward. Again, I don't know how much I want to put into next year. Again, it's really going to depend on who we get. But I think over this 4-year span, his first 4 years, I think we're going to get better each and every year. We're going to add more and more talent each and every year. And before we know it, Detroit basketball will be back, baby. So let me know what you guys think about him involving Blake Griffin and the plans moving forward. What do you guys think it means? I mean, it could, like I said, it could mean his plans moving forward will be to trade Blake Griffin. I don't know. Obviously, you know, he's only been here for a week, not even a week yet. So he probably doesn't want something to us. He's going to say something nice about everybody. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Instagram, Twitter, DSA members, DSA website, all in the description. Be sure to go subscribe and go check me out on social media, man. And that's the bottom line because Detroit Drew said so. I'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Peace.